Hello.
Hello. I like how you said hello to get the ball rolling. Welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 268. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It's Sunday, September the 20th, and um, I forgot what we normally say next. It's a knitting show.
It is. Every
Um, I am having to switch my stitches from one needle to another because my
day.
cable just broke.
Oh no, on what needles?
Chalgu. It's my
That's not...
first time I've ever had it happen, but
Are they red ones or are they
they're the red
sharps?
ones that have the
Really?
reinforced
They
mesh
industrial strength.
whatever. Here, I'll
It's
show you.
because
I've only
you're
got
a
like
great
7
knitter.
stitches left to switch.
Where did you break it? The point where you hit all the time?
Yes. Which is, it definitely shows that I don't know whether it's a weak point common to all needles or if I'm just like super Hulk at that point. So these are US 5s. It's the interchangeable Chalgu red
Oh, they're
lace.
interchangeables.
Yeah, and it's the kind that's reinforced, so it's not really flexible.
It's
It's
like
really rigid.
bicycle wire, I feel like.
Yeah, it's got like metal reinforcement in there. And so this is the join, and this is it bending in a way that it shouldn't.
But that's how you knit. So
Because when I hold the needle,
Leslie holds things
the
weird.
the pad of my hand pushes against the joint.
You break all your needles like
I
that, though.
do.
What have you not broken?
My
Has there been a set that you have not broken?
well, I don't know. I don't.
You've broken signatures
I've
that way.
broken signatures that way. I
You're
haven't broken the
Diecraft?
no, not those. The click ones, Addy clicks,
Okay.
because the joint is further down on the
Oh.
clicks. Like the shaft of the needle is a little bit longer because of the way it joins. Instead of screwing on, it clicks and
Yeah,
twists
clicks
or
and
whatever.
joints. Hmm.
So I haven't broken one of those. But I mean, luckily it's just the cable, and the cables are relatively inexpensive to replace. And it's not a fault of the needle, it's the way that I knit with my palm hitting that same spot, and I'm
That was
putting pressure on it constantly. So it can be replaced relatively
While
easily.
you're talking about your knitting, do you want to continue going or would you like me to go?
Um, I,
How
I'll go.
about
I got it.
okay, you got it?
Yeah. I thought my earphones were twisted around my yarn, but they're not. Okay, so I am knitting 2 things right now. One of them is Rolling Rock. It is a sweater by Thea Coleman, Baby Cocktails. It looks like that. It's a very simple pullover, stockinette on the front, simple lace panel on the back, and it's knit with a lot of positive ease. And it's knit in a sport weight. The pattern calls for a sport weight. I chose to go with the DK, so it's a little bit less drapey, a little more of a thicker fabric. So I've just got to the point where I've got one more round, and then I'm gonna start the ribbing for the bottom. So I got a lot done this week. This is the back. So I've got a lot of the lace
Got a
panel
lot
done.
on. Yeah.
Alternating every row with my Hazelnuts DK Lively in the, what was the color?
Um, some kind of gem. Alexandrite?
Alexandrite, yes. So it's like a green with undertone, a purple with undertones of green and
Gray?
gray.
Dark gray.
Yeah.
Charcoal, let's say.
Um, that's being knit on US size 5s, was on Chalgus, now it's on Addy Clicks, which I happen to just have with me because when I try it on, I use the little extender that comes with the
Yeah.
clicks and
That's very smart.
do it that way. So I'm knitting the 51-inch size so that I still have some positive ease and it's not like, I don't feel like a sausage. Uh, that's probably more information than anybody needed. So that's one thing that I'm
So how
knitting.
many skeins have you used and how many do you
I
have?
have no idea how many skeins. I think that's skein number 4 and 5 that I'm using, that I'm alternating.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure. And I have 3 more. I won't use all of them, but I got more than I needed. I knew that I got more than I needed. So,
Good.
um, and
It's a good problem to have.
The other thing, I knit on this a lot yesterday. I met up with my friend Suze and we went to Applefest. Applefest!
Saw that. I'm so jealous. There are no apple festivals in Memphis, Tennessee.
So there's this place in, it's a little upstate for me in Jersey. It's in Colts Neck. It's the name of the town. And
That's
it's called,
the name of the town.
well, it's a little bit north of Manasquan and a while north of Manahawkin. These are towns of people that I know. And a little east of Middletown, which is where another group of people that I know. Anyway, I met up with Suze and we went to Delicious Orchards. I've heard a lot about it from Seashore Sharon and from Anna and Amy. Carpe Cake'em, that's her rivalry name. And so it's this, like, they grow a lot of their own fruit and stuff on site. They have a bakery. They've got, they make some of their own cheese, and, like, they do a lot of their own stuff.
We need to go there next time. Do they make fudge? Because
yes, they do make fudge.
that is the kicker.
They make their own peanut butter, too. They also serve
with oil, though, I bet. Like
what's called an apple cider slushy with ice cream.
Oh.
It's like a Rita's with custard and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So good. Oh, it was so good. If it wasn't an hour and a half drive for me, I would go and get one today.
I think that would be a good Kobe trip, too. I bet you'd like it. Can you pick apples?
Not during Applefest. Actually, at their place, place of business, you can't. Just up the road, you can, but not at the place where their store is. So anyway, it was super crazy busy. Apparently, Applefest is a big thing. We didn't realize quite how big it was going to be. Very busy. But I got strawberry rhubarb pie.
T-shirt.
It does.
Shut your mouth.
I know. I haven't even had a bite yet. I brought it home. They make their own cider on site. I got some cider. I got some kale. Some other.
I don't care about the kale.
Oh, but it's so good.
I hate kale.
Oh, you got to put it in the oven with some olive oil and some salt, and it's so good. It's like crunchy, like chips. Anyway, so while I was there,
not sold on your kale.
Susan and I went there, and then we went to Anna and Amy's for a while and sat and chatted and knit. And so I got some progress knit on my mockery socks. So I've got, yeah, I've got a little bit left, and then I'll start the toe. The patterning is really difficult to see. Oh, there we go. You can actually see it.
Great.
Looks good. I should have picked a slightly more variegated yarn for it, but the yarn is really nice and soft, so I wanted to have that.
It's Apothecary, right?
It's Apothecary yarns in something about the tide. Oh, Off the Deep End is the colorway name. Apothecary is the store.
Cool beans.
And that's living in my Jessalou Firefly bag. And that is all that I'm currently knitting. I did knit a second swatch for Lifesavers. This one I did not steek because I may need the yarn. I just knit it in the round and then measured the
look at you.
stitches. I need to go back and actually compare it to what the pattern calls for and see if I'm closer. I didn't do that. I just now measured the stitches before we started.
So your steek swatch was off?
Yeah. I had fewer stitches to the inch than I needed, so.
So it was too big?
Yes. So it called for something like 5 stitches to the inch, and I had like 4 or something, 4 1/4 or something. Yeah. So I went down a needle size.
Welcome to my life.
So anyway, that's all I'm working on.
That's unusual for you, though.
Well, I didn't go up a size like I usually, or down, whatever the direction I usually go. I didn't do that. I used the pattern recommended size. So anyway, your turn. You talk, not me.
My turn. So I finished my secret knitting, and it's off. And so I cast on something new immediately afterwards. So I finished that yesterday. And then I cast on... I wanted to knit... I wanted to knit a friend a baby present. And I was like, oh, I'll do it in size 1. Because the first baby shower present I knit her was too small by the time I finished it. Because I'm terrible. And then, so I was like, I'll do it in the 1-year-old size. That gives me like 6 months to finish this. And so I just cast on. So it's Mini Water's Edge by Hannah Fettig. And it's so ironic that I got an email from Quince earlier today deeming it October is Hannah Fettig month. And this is a Hannah Fettig pattern. But I'm not using Quince. If I had worsted Quince, I would. So this is the Mini Water's Edge by Hannah Fettig. Looks like that. It's got some really great sizing. It's sized from 6 months all the way up to 14 years, which translates to 18-inch circumference all the way up to 32.5-inch circumference.
At that point, you can switch to the adult size.
Yes, and there is an adult size. So, like, I know the Knitmores use this for Gigi knit it.
Right.
I know this because I texted her earlier. Because I had a quick question. But, so I started knitting it.
And they did it for the matchy-matchy cowl, right?
Yes, for their matchy-matchy. Gigi did. She knit one for her, and then she knit one for Genevieve. So I started knitting it, and I was like, I'll just check out the gauge when I get down a little bit. Because, you know, by the time you cast on, it's like 40 stitches, and you start increasing up for the raglan, and it's a little kid sweater. By the time I get to the, like, armpit divide, it's about the size of a swatch anyways. So I'm supposed to be getting 5 stitches to the inch, and I am getting 4, which makes this a 4-year-old size when you do the math, not a 1-year-old size. So now it's going to Alice, and I'll cast on one in the correct gauge for the parsing, because I'm really enjoying it. So I'm using Encore, with 2 skeins of Encore in the stash in this color. Encore, you can tell how old it is in the stash because, they switched their tags a little while ago, I think. So this is nice vintage stash. It is color 504. Encore is made by Plymouth Yarn. It's a nice, like, 200 yards worsted weight acrylic wool blend, so it can go in the washing machine. So that makes it perfect for kids stuff a lot of times. Another substitute that a lot of people use would be vintage. I don't know what the pattern calls for canopy worsted, which is alpaca merino viscose bamboo blend from the Fiber Company. So it's not going to have quite the drape that has, but
you
it's going to be
in a washing machine. So that's
I can
positive.
I can put it in the washing machine, and by me I mean Emily can put this in the washing machine. So after I figured out that it was bigger rounds than I needed it to be, I decided to it's got a great schematic. So I figured out how many inches around it was. And then I'm just knitting for that size, and I'm making sure, like, my stitch count is the 1-year-old size, but I'm just knitting to the measurements of the 4-year-old size. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So then I got down to this point.
The peplum.
There's this pleat. Do you see this?
Oh, yeah.
So what you do is you knit down to this point, and then you go back and you pick up stitches from 6 rows below, and you squish, like, kind of do a 2-needle, like, combine those 2 stitches into one. So some awesome people on Ravelry had the clever idea of putting in a lifeline 6 rows before that. So all those stitches you can see clearly.
Oh, they pop right, yeah.
Because there's a lifeline through them all.
Those
so I did that.
Ravelry people.
They're so clever. It's kind of a pain, though, because you're supposed to pick them up from behind. So another clever person on Ravelry just did a purl ridge there. That's what I'm going to do next time. Like, do maybe 2 purl ridges.
Yeah.
And or 3. So it's this nice little feature, and call it a day. Because this adds a lot, because it's 6 rows that have been squished together, basically.
Yeah.
It adds a good bit of bulk, which probably adds some structure if you've got, like, more of a viscose cotton blend that's, or alpaca viscose blend that's got a lot of drape to it.
Yeah, with a little bit of memory. Yeah,
it probably adds a little bit more, like, firmness to keep those stitches kind of staying put where you want them. But for me, with a wool blend, you don't need that. So yeah, this next time I'll do like
I can hear your cat crying.
Yeah, he's singing the song of his people. Welcome to my life. He does it at 2 a.m. too. It's super awesome. And then for the increases down here, there are some people in Ravelry that, so you're supposed to increase every stitch to make this pleat. And there are some people that increased every 5 stitches, and that looks pretty good. He's super crying. I'm sorry, y'all. And then, so I decided instead of increasing every stitch, I was going to increase every other. Because I'm a little bit short on yarn. So the 4-year-old size says it takes 450 yards of yarn. And the 1-year-old size said it took 250 yards of yarn. So I have 400 altogether. So I'm going for a happy medium. So I cast this on last night. Did I say that already?
Wow, you gotten a lot done.
The Steelers game.
Ah.
So I cast this on last night, and I've been listening to A Wrinkle in Time. I probably put 2 hours into it last night and got down past the sleeves. And then all the rest of it was today. And I forget how fast, like, worsted yarn goes really fast, too. So I'm around 210 yards into it. I just changed balls back there. So I'm like 210 yards into it. I'm extending it a little. Basically, this is no longer this far.
I was going to say.
Whatever.
The gauge is off. The yardage is off. The measurements hopefully won't be. It'll fit some kid somewhere.
It'll fit Alice because she's got a little bit over, a little under a 22-inch chest. And right now it's measuring at 24. So, but because she's a tall girl, I don't know who she takes after. Because she's so tall, both her parents are fairly tall too. I'm adding length. So this is actually where it should be, and I should start like short rows right here to make it longer in the back.
Oh yeah, so it's
front,
got like a little...
longer in the back. Yep. And then it's supposed to have ribbing at the bottom. I'm gonna make it, instead of going like 3 1/4 inches that it's supposed to be, I'm gonna go to 5, I think. It's gonna be a little bit longer, and then because it's pretty. I mean, it's not like, it's top of the jeans line, so it's not. It's smaller. It's not like super long, anyways. And when you look at like projects on Ravelry, a lot of them are way short.
Yeah.
Knit to length. So
well, you've got the yardage, so.
Yeah, if I've got the yardage, I'm gonna. I'd rather, because I did. That was part of the thought of Gigi and I were talking it through. That was part of the thought of like doing only every other increase. So instead of doubling my stitches, I added a quarter.
Yeah.
I added half again. Right. Yeah. So that should give me some extra yarn. And then Alice does not like short sleeves, and she does not like 3/4 sleeves. So I'm gonna see.
Alice is very specific.
She also likes pockets, and I'm trying to figure out if it would look super dumb if I did like an afterthought pocket right there.
I don't think so.
Like,
if you knit it and then sewed it on.
So I'm gonna cut it, take out like 6 stitches, and then knit down on the inside, so it's like a hidden pocket. You see what I'm saying? So like an afterthought. Show me. Yep. Okay. So you cut a few stitches. You cut 1 stitch and unravel it till it's 6 stitches, and there's basically like a hole.
Oh, so
there.
An up and down pocket, not a side pocket.
Not a side pocket, that's correct. An up and down, straight down, all hidden behind that.
So why would you cut it instead of just knitting it, like picking up at the bottom and then knitting it up and attaching it on the side?
How would you get into it? You'd have to cut it somewhere.
Not if you put it on the top instead of behind.
You're putting it like so it opens here. Let me get these stitches that have fallen off back on. So that it's opening on the side. I don't know, you could do that too. It's gonna have, okay, this is another way that I'm changing it. So in the pattern, this is like the button band is just knit in stockinette, so it rolls back on itself. I'm just going to knit, so that's 6 rows. I'm just going to knit 4 rows and then do an I-cord, attach I-cord.
I was going to say I-cord is the way to go there.
And you're already adding, it's got 1 buttonhole right here, kind of at the V, where the V stops. Come here, unroll. There we go. Right there.
Right at the line of, oh, okay.
Right at that line. So what I'm going to do is when I pick up all the way around and knit for those 4 rows, I'm then going to bind off like 2 stitches there, and when I do the attached I-cord, I'll pop over, like knit it so it goes over, so it loops over. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
So it's going to be, it's going to be attached all the way up, and I'll have bound off these 2 stitches, and so then I'll just knit the I-cord loose for like 3 rows, and then
to make the loop. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the plan.
Now that you've developed a totally different sweater.
Whatever. I'm the boss of my knitting.
You are. You should do whatever you want to knit. Whatever makes you happy, dude.
If I do the up or down pockets, the afterthought pockets, I'm totally going to do them in like a smaller gauge, like get some sock yarn and do like pick up with size 1s and knit real tight and do it small and do it in like a hot pink or something crazy. That's the plan. Anyway, I have other things to talk about.
It's going to be a long show.
Oh, it's just, I really don't have that much on the needles. So I only have 2 things on the needles. Like, I'm finishing stuff. I had the first.
Oh, yeah, the Purple Rain.
The first Purple Rain sock. This is why I have like 16 sock blockers behind me. It's redunculous. All right, so there's the first one. And so the second one is now, before it was on that pink. So I've gotten 2 inches, I think, knit on that. So, yeah, because I started back to the blue. So I'm right here. So I have those 2 to go. And then I'll put in an afterthought heel all the way up. This is the Purple Rain colorway of White Birch Fiber Arts. It's being knit for a friend of mine, Amy from Ross Farms, and on size 1 needles. And I have this much left.
I thought it was on zeros.
Oh, it is on zeros. What did I say? 1s? Oh man,
I gotta see. I listen to you.
Yeah, I need to flip my brain because now I'm working on 1s, and that's hanging out in my Bling Your String sock sack, which I love. The other does not have a home because it's gonna be finished by the time I find a home for it.
So it's a homeless project.
It is. It's sad. So that's all I got. Those 2. So.
Did you finish anything this week?
I did not finish anything. But you finished an embroidery piece.
I did. Not knitting. Heaven forbid I finish any knitting, but...
Well, you're working on something fairly huge, dude. Like, it's not like you're...
Why you gotta call me fat?
I'm not. I'm saying that the piece that you're working on is larger than 200 yards.
I did knit... well, I've had this sort of messing around with it for a couple of weeks, but Craftsy and Etsy both have a lot of downloadable hand embroidery projects, so you just download the PDF and then you trace it onto either straight onto your fabric or onto some transfer material.
Uh-huh.
So I did this little whimsical pig.
Is he wearing a robber mask?
He's wearing goggles.
Oh no, he's wearing goggles.
Like a steampunk pig, and he's being floated on a bunch of balloons.
Or he's an aviator pig.
Yeah.
It's not very steampunk.
So, and I just did it on like...
You would need some pantaloons to be steampunk. I need a pig in pantaloons. Make that happen.
A pig in pantaloons. All right, I'll work on that. I just did this on...
I want to knit pantaloons for the little pig I made you last year. It'd be so much easier to sew them, but no, I want to knit some pig pantaloons.
That's practical. I just knitted on one of these bar towels, but I'm probably going to put it in like a hoop to hang it or something. Yeah. This is just what I happen to have handy.
That's a big piece of material. You could use them multiple times.
Yeah, I would. I will, probably. I got a couple of other patterns from the House of Whimsy place, and I've linked it on the show notes if anybody wants. I think it was like $5 or $6 for the pattern. And it shows you all the stitches and gives you recommendations for colors. I just picked colors I already owned, so. That's it. That's the only finished thing.
Okay, I have some spinning. I'm working on clearing my bobbins. And so I have some, this is not cleared off, and this is the first bobbin. The second bobbin is on the mini spinner, but I've been working on spinning up some Southern Cross Fiber Bond and Silk, and I cannot remember the name of it's one of the Terry Pratchett colorways, and I can't remember which one. but I think Vadolini or something like that. I can't remember. So this is the first half, and the second half is almost done. I spun on it at midnight because I couldn't work on my secret project, and I didn't want to reward myself with starting something new when I hadn't finished the secret project yet. So I spun on some of this. I'm also spinning on now I can't remember. It's not Spunky Eclectic. It is something I will show you next week. But I have a wheel in my kitchen.
You have a wheel in every room of your house except your bathroom, I think.
No, I don't have a wheel in this room. Because
it won't fit.
Maybe if once I get the new shock to loom wheel, I'll have it set up in here. It's because the lights take up so much
Wait,
room.
you're getting the new shocked wheel?
Yes.
What the hell?
You're getting one too.
No, I'm not.
Are you not?
No.
I want the new shocked wheel.
I want to try it, but I don't need to own it. I do not hold myself accountable to that statement at all, by the way.
I need to own all the shocked wheels. I've not bought a matchless yet. I'm just throwing that out there.
You haven't. That's true. But you do have a beautiful cherry
Saxony wheel.
Reeves.
I do. It's awesome. It's amazing. They put a new spoiler up. One of the people who works at the factory posted some of the stuff that they had spun on it. It's really like lace weight 2-ply, really pretty. So should I link that in the show notes? Sure.
If it makes you happy.
I totally will. I'll totally link that next clue. It's really, really pretty. But anyways, what he spun is really pretty. I don't know what the actual wheel looks like yet. Copy, paste. So that's what I spun this week. That's about it. Shocked speculation thread. So if I don't do it now, I'll forget. Okay.
So we do have a book to review.
Book review.
And it is top-down, reimagining set-in sleeve sweater design.
Yep. That was it's top-down reimagining set-in sleeve design by Elizabeth Doherty. Doherty? It's published by Quince & Company. It's really cool. So because it's published by Quince & Company, it uses all their yarn.
Yep.
The price is... Quince sent this to us for a review. Actually, Elizabeth sent this to us for a review. The retail price is $24 for a print and PDF, and then $21 for just the PDF. At that point, I just get both.
Yeah, it's only $3 difference.
And this has some really, really good information in it.
So the concept behind the book is basically she talks about how her perfect sweater is a top-down sweater, but with a set-in sleeve. And most top-down sweaters are raglan style. The way that she describes it in the book, without giving away any of the secret sauce, is essentially you knit the back, 2 separate pieces, and then join it together. Then you come back and pick up the shoulders and knit down the front until under the arms. And at that point, it's all knit in one piece, knitting around. And it makes it easier to do the sleeves because you can be more precise on the measurements of the sleeve cap by picking up and doing short rows. And she gets very specific and mathematical and precise.
It's the first time that I've seen really good instructions for that process.
It's very comprehensive.
Yes, she also has a good way of fitting for set-in sleeve sweaters. So where to measure, what numbers you should use, about ease. She's got some really great and informative
illustrations that really sort of help make sense of the... She talks about how it's really hard to envision a sleeve cap because of the 3-dimensional nature of it. It's not a flat piece. It's something that has to have that curve to it because your shoulder is a curved body part. So you really need to, in order to have a really precise fit, you have to follow the curve of your body. She talks about the different parts of the sleeve cap, the mid cap, the lower cap, etc., and how to calculate the numbers for all of those things. The
She does blocking on the needles, which is really,
yeah,
really interesting and really well done. So that's there, and all about how to block on the needles and what you need. So that's really, really good as well.
yeah, she really goes into the why, um, and it's very convincing. It makes me want to knit a sweater with this process. I never have, and she talks about. For this particular process, in order for you to have a really well fitting sweater, you want to measure the acrimonial process, which is a totally new
I've never heard that
phrase before,
before.
and it's the measurement between certain parts of your shoulders where the
Yeah.
bone comes up, on the front and the back, and how that number can be different on the front versus the back, especially for people who knit a lot or work on computers. You tend to be a bit hunched in the front.
Mm-hmm.
The number tends to be bigger in the back, so she talks about how to make adjustments for that. She talks about ease. Laura talked about how she mentions blocking on the needles, which is super helpful in regards, especially if you have a difference in pre and post blocking gauge, to be able to really tell if it's knitting the way that it should to your body.
Yeah,
So she also has 6 sweaters in here.
she
Um,
does. So there's 6 patterns
mhm.
included. There's they start by just like multiple pictures of each sweater, so
Yeah,
you can
like a
just flip
lookbook.
through,
Hmm.
and yeah, definitely like a lookbook of each, and you can flip through and see each. I think the first one might be my favorite.
The second one is my favorite.
Okay, so everything's named after different fonts.
Hmm.
Did you catch that?
I did.
It's sans serif. Is
Serif,
that how
sans
it's
serif.
serif? Thank
Hmm.
you. Is the first one. It's a cardigan. It's got pockets.
Yep.
Very nice
Schematics.
schematics. It is
The sizing is great, from 30 up to 57-inch bust.
it uses Lark, which I think is that's their worsted, right?
Yeah, because the needles are 7 and 9.
Yep, the gauge is 17 stitches to 26, so it is their worsted, which I think I have a sweater's worth of. So I do have a sweater's worth of purple. I could totally use it for this, which may happen. I don't know that I have enough. Well, I'd shorten the sleeves because I'm definitely a 3/4 sleeve girl. There is, as you go, these little
Yes.
helpful hints. So
Hmm.
this one is how to keep track of rows as you go.
And they're
She
very specific to the project, and especially when there's a special technique involved, which I really appreciate that she stuffs that into the project, so that you don't she doesn't have to say go see page, blah 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 for this. It's right where you need it. Um,
I appreciate that.
the next pattern, which is I think is my favorite because of the design elements that she's put into it, is serif. So it's sort of the opposite of sans serif. It's got garter stitch detail on the hem and the cuffs, and it's got sort of hidden pockets in the garter stitch, which I really like. It is also knit in lark. Oh no, it is knit in lark, not whatever yours was. So it's a fingering weight. Um,
Okay.
I think
Underwood's got some nice texture details as well at the top and bottom. So it's
yes.
got some really cool bits of texture to it. The neckline's a little bit on all these. The necklines are a little bit open for me, but that's easily changed. This one goes from a bust circumference of 30 and a half all the way up to 57, and it's out of Chickadee, which is the sport weight that Quince does. All these are a wool or wool silk blend, so it would be really easy to substitute yarn if you needed to substitute yarn.
Yeah,
But
she's also got Maris, which is she says is her most popular or her favorite design. It's got a little bit of a bell shape to it. It bells out at the bottom, but she also talks in the pattern about how to adjust it if you don't want that. Which, if I were to knit that pattern, I definitely would not want that shape,
I
but
like the sleeve detail on that one.
I do too.
It's really pretty.
Um, and again, it's got the information, the little asides that have relevant information on that
Yeah, like
particular
short
pattern.
ruching and stuff like that.
Um,
Definitely.
I will say that a lot of times when you look at the beauty shots of patterns, you don't always see what the designer is sort of going for, and that is not true at all in these books. All of the shoulder shaping is exquisite in these books. It is fantastically done. Very clean lines and beautiful photography.
And then copperplate, which is definitely my second favorite, is more of an open. So the fronts are not meant to meet. It's got a cable detail that goes down the front and all the way around the back. And also on the back has like a faux seam or a seam. I'll have to look a little bit more in detail.
Which helps to sort of allow it to fall in the way that the designer wants it.
Yeah, it also gives a vertical line to the back too, which is I really like that collar though that goes all the way around. It's really, really pretty.
I think it's a very striking design element that goes throughout the whole pattern. And then the last is Clarendon, which is a bulky weight sweater. Osprey is the yarn. And it's very simple. It's a very simple pullover. It's got ribbing on the cuffs and the hem, and it's done in such a way that the back is slightly larger than the front, and the ribbing is split in the front to sort of accentuate that, which gives it a nice shape.
And then she goes into a bunch of information about making modifications. Basically, it's adjustments and fittings. So she goes into how to do gauge swatches, including blocking, measuring gauge, row gauge, adjusting for gauge differences, adjusting fits.
I would say it's the most... So a lot of times you have a slightly different gauge than what the pattern calls for. Maybe it's only a difference of a half a stitch over 4 inches. Maybe it's a difference of a row and a half over 4 inches or whatever. Her explanation of what to do is both the most comprehensive and the most easily understandable for someone like me who math does not come to friendly or kindly. So she breaks it down into, okay, this is your problem, this is your solution, this is how I got to that solution, and this is how you would change it for yourself. So really great information on that. She also talks about how you can change the armhole depth, how you can change the curve of the sleeve cap, how the shape of the sleeve cap and whether it goes more horizontal versus vertical adjusts the overall look of the sweater.
That's really interesting.
Things I would never have considered.
Yeah.
She has definitely written a syllabus on this particular top-down sweater with a set-in sleeve.
Which is good, because it's not something that we've seen before.
Right.
And top-down sweaters are not new, but typically you see them as raglans or compound raglans. So it's nice to see some new things coming on the market that really can fit everyone's body shape.
Yeah, and she discusses that the set-in sleeves, essentially, you know, they're adding seams, which adds structure and stability, which allows it to hang appropriately on your body, and she really makes it, she sells it. She makes you want to knit your sweater this way.
Which is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely maybe later in the year when I'm towards the winter, when I'm in a total sweater mood, I can definitely see me knitting at least one of these sweaters, if not multiple ones.
And I think that she makes them so simple, like I don't say simple in a negative way, but the overall design is not overwhelming, so that substituting yarn would be easy. Doing it in hand spun would be easy. And if your gauge is different, she explains exactly how to fix that and how to adjust your pattern for it.
Yeah.
So I could see doing one of these in hand spun.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Really easily. So anyway, that is Top Down.
Top Down. By
Elizabeth Doherty. And it's put out by Quince & Company. There's a link in our show notes if you're interested in getting it. I would recommend purchasing it if you are someone who knits sweaters frequently. I think it gives a lot of really great information. And
I think it draws that line between being like a good, informative text that you can go to over and over again and having some great designs as well.
I agree.
Does that make sense?
It straddles that line really well, so it's not so informative as to be overwhelming. but informative enough that you can get the information that you need. So,
and the patterns are
thumbs
nice
up for
enough
me.
that you could definitely buy it just for the patterns and really enjoy it that way too.
Yeah.
So it works for both. Yeah. I like good books. Makes me happy. So thank you, Quince and Company,
Yep.
and Elizabeth.
And Elizabeth.
All right, we have a question from KT Jane 82. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Are there any crafts that you would like to learn? I would love to be able to sew my own project bags and learn to weave, but there are just not enough hours in the day.
Amen, sister.
That's the first part. And then there's a second part that's directed more towards me, but you can also answer it since you have a child approximately that age. My 10-year-old daughter is a devourer of books, reading them, not eating them, which is good for everyone.
That is a good clarification. Thank you.
Have you got any recommendations for her? Also, any that are fun for adults as well as preteens, as we still love story time in my house. So let's go with the first question first. So
Are there
what
any
crafts
that you would like to learn?
would you like to learn?
I don't know. I guess it's more of an art than a craft. I would really like to learn to paint. Watercolors or oil paints or something. But not enough to give up the crafts I already do. As far as like handcrafts, I really would just like to expand on what I already do. I would like more time for quilting, more time for sewing. I would like to segue into making clothes for myself. I would like to be able to do that. Just there's not enough time. I have plenty of instruction, several classes on Craftsy and tons of books, but I just haven't had the time. I mostly dabble in the stuff that I enjoy already. So more time would be wonderful. But as far as other crafts, I can't think of any. What about you?
I would love to be able, it's not like, for me, it's not, I mean, it is a time issue to some degree, but for me, it's more of an ability issue. Like, I have an inability to cut things straight. Even with a rotary cutter, even with the fancy rulers, my stuff does not come out straight. So quilting and sewing is pretty much beyond me. And now I'm going to get all these things covering suggestions, these people hopefully offering suggestions, but trust me, there's some, like, straight in my brain does not work, spatially. So I'd love to be able to quilt, but I can't do it. The cool thing about having an art teacher as a mother is you kind of dabble in everything.
You've tried a lot of these things.
I wish I had the artistic ability that my sister has, but I do not. It's just one of those
Well, you've
things.
tried some really interesting crafts, like you used to do glass work.
I did used to do glass beadwork, and that's something I would love to get back into, but that actually is a spatial issue and a time issue. More a spatial issue with Humberto. Like, I could close off the garage and make it into, like, have my blowtorch out and stuff like that, but I would rather have a fix and have
You just said blowtorch and my heart just went, oh my god, Laura with a blowtorch. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
I know. And yet I did that for years.
Oh, I believe it.
But like that and the kiln, I just don't have space where I would not burn down my house, I feel like, at this point in my life. Which, you know, if I had a workshop out back, that would be different. I need to move it to Mama Linneman's house because she's got that huge workshop out back.
But she only gets half of it, right?
That's true. They haven't gone through that whole...
Yeah, because they're on their long trip through the country.
They're Trek. They'll be here October... They're coming in the Sunday that you get back. What is that, October 3rd?
4th. Because 5th is that Monday. That's when Spinzilla starts.
Oh, man. They're going to be here during Spinzilla. That's irritating.
Oh, I just had such an evil thought of you having your mom spin and cheat for us.
No.
But now I've said it, so we won't do it.
I'll have her wind off bobbins, though, because that's legal.
Yeah.
Because Fancy Tiger does that. They have people go to their shop, and they wind off their bobbins for them and count. So she can do that. I mean, they can be here, and we can hang out and still be spinning. The 5th, I have a volleyball game, so that's like 4 hours in my day that I won't be spinning.
Boo.
I know. I might ask her if she can cover it. If I can get some, I might try to pay someone else to do a book that night. but we'll see.
So what about the second part of the question?
Oh, the second part of the question, I would say, what kinds of things does your daughter like? Because I can give lots and lots of suggestions, but if it's not something that she's interested in, that's not super helpful. So I guess my question back to you is what kind of genres or books is she interested in? Because I have some kids that they love fantasy and sci-fi, and other kids do not like fantasy and sci-fi. I have some kids, and it seems like it's rarer at my school, that love historical fiction, and then other kids, but they're very specific on the historical fiction periods that they like. So usually, if they're a devourer of books, they like all sorts of different things. But it's helpful to know what genres they gravitate to, what genres she gravitates to. I will tell you, if she likes fantasy, The Enchanted Forest Chronicles by Patricia Weird is one of my favorites, and I love them. Dealing with Dragons is the first one. I highly recommend that to all 10 to 11-year-old girls who like princesses. But it's a princess with attitude. It's not like,
good,
Disney princess, come rescue me.
We
but
have
I like
enough
this
of
one.
the damsel in distress ones.
But I guess my question back is, what kinds of things does she like? Now, what the kinds of things? Kobe likes fantasy for the most part.
He
correct?
likes, yeah, fantasy.
So what's Kobe reading right now? He likes funny books though too.
He's
I get
reading Shadow Chronicles or something now. Shadow something.
Shadow Children Chronicles.
I don't remember. He checked it out from school. I will say the thing that we read a lot to him when he was very young. We didn't read a whole lot to him after he turned 5 or 6. He's always been really independent, so he didn't want us in his room when it was bedtime. He wanted to go to bed. So I will say the thing that got him into reading independently for the fun of it were the Captain Underpants books, because they were and the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, because they both have a little bit of like comic book-ishness to them, but also story. So it was a nice transition from, you know, picture books to chapter books. And now he reads exclusively chapter books with, you know, if there's a picture, it's only at the beginning of the chapter above the chapter note or whatever. So, but he's 12, so he's a little bit older.
I will tell you that Scholastic, mainly because they're trying to sell you kids' books, but they also, because they do all the book fairs for most of the schools, they do now video trailers for a lot of books. So you can go on there and check out a bunch of stuff too.
To give you an idea of what it's about.
Is he going to have a book fair at his school this year?
Yeah, I've already brought home the... It's up on the counter, the little thing.
Little flyer.
Yeah.
But that's a good research. As far as books that are fun for adults as well as teens, I love the Lightning Thief series, Rick Riordan. He's got a new series coming out. Oh, the new book comes out like in less than a month. That is Norse mythology based. So it's like Annabeth's cousin. I haven't gotten through. So my problem is with series, like, I read the first 2 or 3 and I might really enjoy them, but I just don't have time to continue a series because there's new books coming out that I have to read for work so I can book talk them, and I can't really book talk like the 4th in the series. So I tend to stick with the first one, which is always really good. Like, I still haven't read the second in the Steelheart series because I've been too busy reading other stuff to get there, but I will once my kids return it. I have 6 copies and they're all out.
I have it on audiobook. I could let you use that.
Yeah. I'm listening to A Wrinkle in Time. I love A Wrinkle in Time. I don't think you can go wrong with Madeline L'Engle either. She's great.
I think it's a really personal, like,
it is.
People are, everybody likes something different.
Oh, yeah.
And even me, like, I'll go through periods where I don't want to read anything but fluffy romance. And you know what? I don't make apologies for it. And then sometimes I don't want to read anything but really hard science fiction. So I think it's hard to recommend unless you can say, you know, these are some past books that I like.
Yeah.
That
and
gives
that's
us
at my
springboard.
school. I have a forum called Blind Date with a Book where they fill it out and I set them up with like 6 or 7 books that they might enjoy.
That's a great idea.
So yeah, that's on my website too, like my school website too. But
we should do Blind Date with a Book in our group, so people, not just us, but like people can say, "Hey, I just read here are 3 books that I really love. Can anybody recommend something like that?
Yeah, do you want me to upload the form? Do you want me to copy and paste part of the
Well,
form?
it doesn't have to be anything formal. We can just start a thread called Blind Date with a
Yeah.
Book, and
There
I
you
think
go.
that's cool. I like that.
All right. I'll
Um,
start.
so since we're still talking about
I
reading,
totally stole that from Becca's library, though. The
well, thank
Hinsdale
you, Wool
book.
Pierogi, for providing
she's
us with things to
like,
steal.
I want to be the kind of librarian Becca is. She's awesome.
She is really involved with her. Very innovative, too.
And if you're lucky enough to have the Hinsdale Public Library as your library, it is amazing.
And that's in the Chicago Metro, right?
It's outside of Chicago, so.
So speaking of books,
yeah,
reading,
what are you reading?
I read a couple of fluffy romance novels from the Ian McKenzie series. I'm on the 5th one now.
Oh, cool.
Which has Daniel, he was a kid in the younger ones now. He's like in
yeah,
his early 20s.
The last good one. Although I think there's a new one coming out. I mean, there's like 2 past that one.
Yeah, there's 7 altogether, but
yeah, that's the last good one.
That's what
I'm looking for.
And then I read The Winter King, which has a really super cheesy cover, like old school romance fantasy cover, but it's actually pretty good. Is
that one I recommended to you or no?
No, it's one Amazon recommended to me. It's like, hey, you've read nothing but fantasy romance for the past 2 weeks. Try this. So
I think I've read that one. Now I'm looking.
It's good. It's fantasy with a bit of romance in it. And now I'm reading one called Uprooted, which was like a bestseller last year, I guess. And it's also fantasy. So, and I'm still listening to The Assassin's Blade.
The Winter King by C.L. Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah, the new one. I've already pre-ordered the next
I pre-ordered it too. I finished it this morning and I'm like, pre-order.
I thought you would like that one because it's very similar to the other one that I meant to recommend that to you. The one that you sent me by, what was it, Grace Draven?
Grace Draven, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar to that.
If you like fantasy romance, you need to read yourself some Grace Draven. Anyway, so that's what I'm reading. What are you reading?
I am reading, I just had to pull it up. I'm reading 3 things. Oh, I did finish that show note. So the kids book that I'm reading, the YA book that I'm reading, ooh, I'm scuffing up this cover, that's no good, is I'm listening to A Wrinkle in Time, of course. I'm still listening to that. It's like 6 hours. So I'm savoring it, which is always
I was going to say 6 hours is nothing.
I know, but I'm savoring it in between watching episodes of Colbert. So that's going swimmingly. And then the other day, Friday at school, I was issuing textbooks because we got a new social studies book. So it was like super busy for like the first 30 minutes of the block. And then like calm for the last 10 minutes of the period. So I started reading a new book. So I'm reading The Revelation of Louisa May. It is really interesting. It's one of those, it's a historical mystery / fiction. She does, the author, which is Colleen McCool. She's written several books, and they all have some historical figure, and 3 of them have authors. And can you guess who Louisa May is? Can you guess?
Louisa May Alcott?
Yeah. So Louisa May Alcott's the main character of this. And her parents, it's really interesting because it's like a fine line between fact and fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fiction, but then like I spent a lot of time Googling Louisa May Alcott, and now I want to read one of her autobiographies. She's got an autobiography, but one of her biographies as well. So she is the daughter of her father was good friends with Emerson and Thoreau. And she grew up with Emerson and Thoreau. And that whole like Walden Pond accidentalist? No, that's not the right word. You know what I'm talking about. Like thinking of nature first and our place in nature. Cannot think of the word right now. Anyway.
Existential something.
Yes. Whatever. So, but her family was also huge abolitionists. And so, they are part of the Underground Railroad. And I haven't actually gotten to the mystery part yet, but it's really interesting. Her father was basically too good to work. So the family was always impoverished because he thought that, like, he's this deep thinker that doesn't think that he should have to work. So her mom actually leaves and takes the youngest daughter with her to go earn money. So she's put in charge of the household, and they have a slave that arrives, an escaped slave. And so she's trying to keep him safe, but there's also a slave catcher who comes, and so she's trying to keep him hidden, and her father is not helping matters, and they have no money, and her younger sister is sickly. That's who one of the characters in Little Women was based off of, and it's really interesting. The slave catcher is going to end up dead. I know that from reading the front cover. So then it's gonna kind of become a mystery of who killed him.
Oh, okay.
But it's interesting, and it really, I guess they're all kind of buried in one place outside of Boston, like all these famous authors. In one, it's called Sleepy Hollow Graveyard, which would be really interesting, I think, to go see all these famous authors' graves. But she never married. There is a little bit of romance in this, but in real life, she never ended up marrying. But like a cousin has kind of appeared on the scene too. A young gentleman has appeared. So I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this book, but it's really, really good so far. And she's written one about Emily Dickinson called Mr. Nobody, and then another one, and it was the reason why I pulled up my Kindle app is it was 99 cents on the Kindle yesterday, so I don't have it in my library, so I downloaded it, which is Prisoner in the Palace, which has to do with one of the queens, Queen Victoria, I think. So it's really interesting so far. And then the last thing that I'm reading is The Last Necromancer by C.J. Archer, it's an adult type book. It's about a girl who's living on the streets as a boy, and she gets caught, and she's a necromancer. And there's a lot of deception, and it's a little bit steampunky. It takes place in like Victorian London, but it's really good so far. So those are my terrible descriptions of books. You would never know that I'm a librarian. But once I get through the whole Louisa May Alcott book, I'll be able to describe it better. But I'm at a point right now. I'm 134 pages in, and he's not dead yet. And it's only 248 pages. So I'm like a little over halfway. Nobody's Secrets, the one about Emily Dickinson, and then Always Emily is Emily Bronte. And they're all these historical mystery type things. So I'm enjoying it. I'm not certain that my kids will enjoy it. I know like 2 teachers have asked me to borrow it too. But my kids are not huge Little Women fan. I should talk up Little Women because some of them might enjoy it. But they're not huge Little Women fan. Just because it's historical and it's not. My kids, for the most part, are realistic fiction fans. Like, they love Sharon Draper and Sharon Flake and a lot of realistic fiction. So that is what they gravitate towards.
We have talked non-knitting for quite a while, so
I know.
Not that I mean, a lot of people don't mind, but some people might not care. So
there we go.
Anyway,
so we have under favorite things, we have sock club to talk about.
Yes, Gail's art, who we're biased because we love Gail and think she's awesome, and.
Always.
She vends at SSK, and she taught at SSK, and she, she's been dying for a long time, and she really knows her stuff.
And she's always encouraging to new dyers. Like, if you ever have a question, she's wonderful.
So she is starting a sock blank club, and she sent them to Laura, which is a total waste, because Laura's not going to knit from sock blanks, so they really should go to me.
I was going to send them back to you.
So anyway,
I really want to keep this one and wind it off for me. We'll have to discuss which one.
The white one's the one I really want.
Okay, good.
So Gail is doing a cool thing. So she's doing a club, but she's showing you exactly what's going to be in the club ahead of time.
For the first 3 months, yep.
So she, I'm going to read you
I can wear it as
information about the sock club. And so these are sock blanks. So they're machine knit flat pieces that you basically unravel one end and you can knit directly from the blank.
I think it's a good look for me.
So registration is going to open October 1st, 8 a.m. on Etsy. She's going to keep registration open until the end of the month. But
unless it gets super crazy numbers.
Yeah, she's got a maximum number in mind, so if she hits that number before the end of the month, she'll close registration. So if it's something you really want, you need to get it early. The price is $99, and that's for 3 months. If you're in the U.S., shipping is $9. If you're overseas, it's a little more. She'll tell you what it is in the listing. She's still working all that out. The shipping dates will be November 13th for the Fallen. You want to show that one?
Yes. I put them on in reverse order.
You did put them on in reverse order. You're a fail. So November 13th, she'll ship the Fallen, which is this beautiful multicolored fall inspired with leaf stencils. Yep. On December the 4th, she will ship Special Snowflake. Can you blame me for wanting that one? Special
I love
Snowflake.
that this has different size snowflakes and different.
Yeah, and I don't know how she does the different colors in the same snowflake. But
you can get these either as singles or as doubles. So if you don't care if your socks match or not, you can just knit straight up on a single. If you want them to match, the double ones would be the ones to go with. Basically, if you're not familiar with a sock blank, this is Leslie, so I'm totally unraveling it. So you can pull out an end.
And cast on with that end.
Yep, and just start knitting.
Just knit straight from it.
Now, when Leslie says I hate sock blanks, what I hate about sock blanks,
she can't handle the curliness. Whereas when
I can't. When I tension, I tension.
You tension much looser than I do. I tension it so tight that it's actually straight by the time it gets to the needle. Yeah. So it doesn't bother me as much.
But what I intend to do is I'm going to wrap it around a skein winder and give it a bath and all that crap.
So it'll flatten. So that one will ship on the 4th, and then there's a third one, which is titles Happy New Year, which is will ship on January 4th, 2016. So
Happy New Year on one side.
I encourage you, if you've never seen a sock knit from a sock blank, it looks so much cooler once you've even knit it up, because all the colors sort of bleed around each other. You can go to Show Me Your Knits Instagram page. Or Ravelry page. She knits a lot of them, as well as Lynn's M. She knits a lot of them as well.
I think your knits has a better chance of having stuff. Not that she's a better knitter, but she has a better chance of having stuff on her page. I think she's entering them into the Halloween cal too.
Also, only in October, she's going to offer a whole year-long option as well. If you know you really love sock blanks, you can sign up for the year-long option, which is $360. I can't do math and tell you how much. That's $30 a month. And shipping is $36 as well. So all this information will be on our Etsy site, and we'll link it. We can't link it this week because the listing isn't up because she hasn't listed them yet.
Yeah.
But I did link her shop.
And if you get the so all the sock blanks are exclusive to this club. They will never be repeated. And if you have a friend that's in the sock blank club that you know is going to do it, and you just want one of the three, you can have her or him add a list. Like in the listing, it'll say sock blank club plus one other, and they can add one to you for you as well. If you're cool like that, if you've got friends.
If you've got friends. Okay. We're optimistic, aren't we? Anyway, I thought the Sock Blank Club was a cool idea. Gail does a wonderful job of it.
Gail's super innovative with her sock blanks, too. You're not just going to get one that's just... And there's nothing wrong with the ones that are just painted straight across, but she stencils and does a lot of other stuff.
She does it with the end result in mind as to how to make the colors play in a certain way. So
she's an artist.
She's kind of a wizard that way.
Oh, she is a wizard. So we have the Halloween cast on all the things, craft all the things going on, and all the details for that are on the Ravelry group. Basically, you knit something that's fall or Halloween related, you sell it to us. You post your FO in the FO thread, which is not a chatter thread, and you're entered in a drawing for some fabulous prizes. And the prizes that we have are the same as last week, but I want to show them again. This is the Nitty Kitty bags. And then there's a very cool, I almost just grabbed your yarn, which I also need to send to you.
From Pecora
Yarns, the Fall Maple colorway. And there is a cool Bats from Joanna Springs. And I know Carrie is sending some stuff, but there will be some other stuff as well arriving that I've heard from people. So we will have some more prizes as well. Speaking of prizes, we have Stash Dash prizes. And I need you to open the...
I am. I'm doing it now.
For some reason, it will not appear on my screen anymore.
And you didn't split things into... You didn't do it the way that in my head, it was supposed to be done.
I'm yawning in your general direction. I did split them into 10K and...
Yeah, but they're not on separate tabs, so, like, drawing would be difficult. But that's okay, because I'm fixing it right now. Because I'm on top of it. I'm on this.
Hey, you're just lucky I did anything. If we're going to be honest.
You're such a brat.
Sorry that I did not do it the way that you intended without telling me to do it that way.
You should have known. I mean...
Obviously.
We're just going to be clear.
Tabs are something I use all the time.
Clearly, you don't work in a cube for your... All right, so we are pulling... What the hell? Oh, you made random notes. Okay. I totally didn't copy the notes.
You made random notes, too.
So we had 3 separate groups, 3 separate...
Random notes are like, Leslie, you have to look at this. This is amazing. Like, they're not terrible notes.
Yeah, I didn't copy the notes, so that's okay. We had 3 separate groups. We had a 3K, a 5K, and a 10K. These were all personal goals, so you don't, like, you're not superior if you did 10K over 3K. These are all personal goals. Not everybody has the same amount of time, skill set, whatever. So... basically what we did was we went in numerical order through every single post, made a note of every post where the goal was met. We noted the post number, the name, and the total number of yards. Now they're all split on separate tabs, and we will just go through and pick some prizes.
Okay.
Shut your face.
Hilarious. How many prizes do we have? I have 5 that I grabbed out of my stash. How many do you have?
I have 2 sweater lots. They'll be for the 10K. No, 1, 2, 3, actually 4 sweater lots. Because
why don't you do 1 per, like 1 3K, 1 5K, and then 2 10K?
Okay.
Because they were individual goals.
And then I got 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn, which will be individual prizes, and 2 skeins of lace weight, which will be a joint prize.
Okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just said 5. Why am I counting again? I have 5 total prizes. 4 are fingering weight. 1 is a metal and touch DK. One of those fingering weights, though, is Volmiza. I'm giving up some of my precious Volmiza for y'all.
My precious.
My precious.
Okay, so if you are hoping to win something, part of this is going to be your responsibility. You have to, if we call your name, you have to PM whoever is physically holding the prize. If I'm holding it, PM me. Flora's holding it, PM her. And you have to remember what the prize is. Because I'm not going back to rewatch this episode to remember the prize.
She made me rewatch last time.
So if you can't remember what you won, then I'm kicking you out. Don't PM me. So
all these rules.
I know, right? So for the first prize from the 3K, I'm going to give away this cashmere Aran. It's 83 yards per skein. It's merino, microfiber, and cashmere, and 8 skeins of it. So Aran weight at 80 yards times 8. 8 times 8 is 64, so like 700-ish yards of an Aran weight. And let's see. So we have from the 3K. Why don't you do the random numbers?
Okay.
You can do it on your computer. We don't have to show the numbers.
I was gonna say that we had a total of 637 finished object posts, and of that, I think we had how many total? Like 200 and
From the 3K, we had 148.
finish, which is awesome.
Well, 147 because the first row is headers. So 147. But you want to do numbers between 2 and 148.
Did you put someone? Oh, because there's a header. Gotcha. All right, 2 and 148.
So for the first prize,
105.
So entry number 105. If this is you, keep track of it. It was post number 224. The user is Trina512. And she did a total of 3,741 yards. So awesome. Congratulations. You will get 8 skeins of this Louisa Harding Cashmere Aran. Just remember, PM me, and I'll get it out to you. Okay. I'll also go ahead and give away one of the Miss Babs Squash Blossoms. This is 400 yards, not 400 skeins, of her Yummy base, which is 100% merino wool. It's, 400 yards, so it should get you a pair of socks. It's actually more orange than it's showing on.
It's sock weight, not lace weight, right?
It's sock weight. Did I say lace? I'm sorry.
You said lace.
It's sock weight, and it's in the Squash Blossoms colorway.
Cool.
So what number is going to win this one?
148.
140. Oh, the last one.
Yeah.
Is You Name It, EWE Name It. It was post number 270, and she did 3,587 yards. So
meters. It's all in meters.
Meters, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm tired. So Squash Blossoms goes to You Name It. So you name it, PM me, and I need your address. And
I'll do one from that as well. So I have this fleece artist.
Ooh.
I do not know a colorway because it's not on here. I think it's fairy something. So it's a nice purple.
Mm-hmm.
I bought at the Loopy U. It's their merino. It's 100% wool.
Okay.
Pretty shawl. And that is going to number 40.
Number 40 is Flecks of Fiber. She was post number 134, and she actually did over 5,000 meters. But since she staked her 3,000 meter claim, she stayed in the 3,000 meter group. So congratulations, Flecks of Fiber. You need to PM Laura.
All right, let's do some 5.
All right, so 5K, I'm going to give away another 8 skeins of this Cashmere Aran. And from that group, we had, let's see, we had 148. So we actually had more 5K finishers by 1.
I know.
Than we did 3K, which is funny. So we have between 1 and 148 are our numbers.
Is it 1 or 2?
It's 1. There's no header in this particular thread or tab. So who wins 8 skeins of Cashmere?
122.
122 is Hydrangea Lover. She was post number 236, and she did 9,110 meters. So congratulations, Hydrangea Lover. You need to PM me, and I will get you the 8 skeins.
Might be Hydrangea Lover. I might have not put that correctly.
If it's misspelled, it's because of Laura. She did the 5K list. And I will give away another of the Squash Blossoms. Miss Babs Squash Blossoms, same exact. I have 2 separate skeins of it, so we'll do another one of these.
It goes to 119.
Oh, that was close. Laura Knit Spa, and she was post 233. She squeaked by with 5,074 meters.
Yep.
So Laura Knit Spa, you need to PM me and tell me that you won the Miss Babs Squash Blossom, and give me your address, and we'll get it out to you. Now, what are you giving away in 5K?
I'm going to give away 2 things. I'm going to give away some apple pie lane yarn. This is another dyer out of Canada.
Oh, I have some of that, yeah.
I love this stuff. It is 50% wool, 20% mohair, 20% silk, 10% nylon, so it will last forever. This might be the only 2 skeins I have, but since it hasn't been used since 2009, I think it's time to let it go.
It's beautiful, though.
So it is this, I know, it's really, like, me grabbing stuff out of my stash is like letting babies go. You have no idea if I had babies. So it is the sunset colorway. It's just a really cool blend. I don't know that they're still in business.
I don't either, but I have some. I think I got it at Loopy.
And they didn't sell it at Loopy. I ordered a bunch from Canada. I might have given you some.
Maybe you gave me some.
143.
143 is Star in Heaven. It's post number 262. She did 6,334 yards. I swear I'm not dumb. Meters. Oh my god. My brain has just melted. It doesn't exist anymore.
All right. My other thing is some Pack-A-Pets. This is 20% alpaca, 65% superwashable, 15% nylon. Everything you get from me is purple.
Half of what you own is probably purple. Maybe 75%.
That's probably true. This came from Hank of Yarn. Is 360 yards, but it's a nice sock weight.
Yeah.
And that is going to 91.
All right, 91 is Cricket 64. She was post number 202. She did 7,251 meters. So, Cricket, you need to email PM Laura, and she'll get you your stuff. For the 10K group, I have 3 prizes. I have 2 giveaways of this Debbie Bliss Cashmerino DK. It is 50 grams each, 110 meters, so it'll be a little less than that in yards, I think. And there's 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, so 8 skeins, 2 lots of 8 skeins each. This is Debbie Bliss Cashmerino DK in this sort of slate gray color. And on our 10K tab, we had, Lala was number 1. You're totally not going to win a prize. We had 57 people who hit 10,000 or more meters. We had one person who hit 18,000. Holy crap.
I know.
Sally from Idaho, way to go, lady. You hit 18,000 meters. Anyway, so we need 2 numbers, both between 2 and 57, because you're not winning
17.
a prize.
I know, right? I already put 2.
Purple Raven, who got 10,006 meters, like right under the.
That's awesome, though.
She was post number 32, so Purple Raven, you need to PM me and tell me that you won the Debbie Bliss Cashmerino. What's our second number?
19.
19 is Pocketses.
Yes.
I hope that's how it's said. That's how it's spelled.
I think it totally is.
She was post 37, and she got 12,593 meters. So way to go, lady. Both of those, you guys won 8 skeins each of this Cashmerino DK. And then the last prize for me is 2 skeins of this absolutely beautiful creme brulee base of Yarn Chef, which is 50% merino, 50% silk in the citron colorway. It's sort of a light lime color.
I thought about stealing that from that stash when I was there.
It's really beautiful and delicate. And together it's 1,240 yards altogether. It's 4 ounces, 1,240 yards, so it's really fine. And I need a winner for that, please.
9.
Post number 9 is KPAR62. She was post 17 altogether. She got 14,317 meters. Way to go, lady. So you need to PM me.
So I have a skein of Madeline Tasha DK in the Ophelia colorway.
Ooh.
Ophelia, so bad for yourself. And that is going to go to 30.
30 is Kirby Bird, who was post number 68, and she finished with 10,319.3 meters. And you're giving away some coveted Volmise.
Yeah, I'm out of my stash. This is the Sultan colorway. It's a pure 100%. So it would be a great endless rainbow with something else.
Yeah, it looks, it makes me think of circus, like a circus environment, or, well, Sultan, I guess, makes me think of
Does that make you think of Sultan?
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So let's pick a winner.
Claudia, she still couldn't name me.
I know,
stuff.
right?
13.
13 is Violinia. She was post number 25. She finished with 12,222.6 meters. Man, these people with the point whatevers were very specific. I believe you. So congratulations to Violina.
And just tell us what you won. And we will, and PM us your address as well and your real name, because they like that. The post office, like, they just don't like us putting pocketses on stuff. They get angry and upset.
If you won from me, it may take 2 weeks for me to mail your yarn out, because midway through this week I'm flying to North Carolina. I'll be out of town for a week and a half, so I won't come back until Spinzilla week, which is the first week of October. And during Spinzilla week, I may not really feel like mailing out your stuff, so it may be 3 weeks before I get to it. But you will get it, and it's free yarn, and you didn't have to do anything for it but finish up some old WIPs. So anyway, is that all on our show notes? Good God, I feel like we've talked for a year.
Did you want to talk about Patreon now, or do you want to do it later?
We can do quickly now. So I swear, my significant other, his name is Michael, and we call him Mr. Awesome because he fixes all the broken stuff. And he has been hounding me, and I mean hounding me, for at least a year to set up a Patreon account, because he listens to a lot of tech podcasts and weather related podcasts. Apparently those are a thing. She says snobbishly on her knitting podcast. Patreon is a site that allows you to support your favorite podcasts. Or it doesn't have to be podcasts. It's support your favorite creators. Basically, it allows you to sign up and say, I'm going to support you by giving you X dollars per episode or per month or whatever you can choose. And as creators, you can choose to offer rewards for people who donate if you donate $3 an episode, we'll enter you for this every month. If you donate $10 an episode, we'll do this for you. We'll enter you in for this prize per month. And I put him off primarily because I have no illusions that this podcast is going to support me and I can quit my job. That would be freaking awesome. It's never going to happen. But it would help us continue to sort of keep up tech-wise. I'm getting to a point where I need to replace my hard drive, and I'm gonna have to replace my camera, and stuff just erodes over time, and it has to be replaced. So this will help us do that, as well as yes, it'll help mail us prizes, and as new cool stuff comes out, it'll help us purchase those things and then give them away to people who are Patreon contributors. So on our website, on the top right hand corner, there's a link now where if you choose, you can support us through Patreon. Nothing will change if you don't want to support us through Patreon. Nothing will change. You will still get an episode every week that we can put it out. We aren't going to be exclusive in any way. It's just those that can and choose to support us through Patreon will do what we can to give back to those people even more. We are looking for ideas for how we can reward those people. What can we do for you that you would be willing to, that would make you want to contribute? Keeping in mind that we both have full-time jobs. Like, it would be awesome if I could knit a pair of socks for everyone who donated, $20 a month. I'd love to do that. It's never going to happen. I can't do it. But,
maybe if you got that sock machine working.
Yeah. But maybe there are some things that you would value that we can do that we just haven't thought of. We're by no means the end all be all of podcasting. So if you have ideas on that, please share them with us privately or in the thread. We don't aim to hide anything from anyone. So we have a page on Patreon. It's patreon.com/TheKnitGirlls, or I'll link it in the show notes, and it's linked on the website as well. So if you're interested, check it out. If you can't, don't want to, that's totally fine too. We're not going to hold it against anybody. So, anyway, if you have ideas, put it in the thread or PM one of us. And thank you for your support for these past 5 years, because if we didn't have anybody listening to us, we probably wouldn't do this anymore. It's a long time to go talking to the empty air.
Or each other.
Yeah.
We really talk to each other.
Well, this is the most we talk each week, is this.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
We text, but this is different. So anyway, I think that's it. We've been doing this for an hour and a half. I am so beat. So you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll be out of town next weekend, but we're working on a way to record during that as well.
Hopefully.
So, yeah. So, bye y'all.
Bye y'all.